Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gina Spatafor, Trade Show Manager for NEC Display Solutions. And welcome to today's webinar, where we're going to review NEC's interactive and collaboration solutions. Before I kick it off to our presenter, I just want to review a few things. All lines have been muted. And if you do have any questions, feel free to use the chat box, and we'll review them at the end. Today's presenter is George Borden, Solution Sales Architect for NEC, part of our solutions group. And George is going to be demonstrating live our collaboration and interactive products. George, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Gina, thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It's great to have you here. I like a modest group. It's all good, and I really appreciate you being here. So I'm going to get right into it and be a good steward of your time, give you the information I think you need to know, answer any questions that you may have, and then we'll get you back onto your day so you can get into the weekend pretty quick. You know, we've been, getting into we've been in collaboration at NEC for a long time here, and just over the last couple of years, we've solidified a couple SKUs specifically for the market. The first product that I want to talk to you about right here, to your right and my left, is called the Infinity Board. We consider this device our flagship product in the space, namely because it's built not only on our V-Series display as the foundation, but other devices that are the best of breed in their concentration to make this all-inclusive solution that you see right here. So breaking it down a little bit, we have talked about these things in regard to business environments with huddle rooms, conference rooms, anything where you have that type of business environment. But I think it's important to note, before I begin in this and a couple other demos that I was doing this morning, there's a lot of folks out there that are formulating their plans for remote working, for collaboration, for interactivity, on-prem, off-prem. I mean, there's a lot going on right now regarding these designs and plans for all of our independent silos, regardless of where we work. So it's a good thing to understand all the options that are available out there to each and every one of us as we enter into the opening back up of the economy. A lot of it's predicated on software, but also, hardware comes into the play because we really don't know how much office is going to be utilized anymore moving into the future. We don't know how much home resources are going to be needed in order to help our home remote, workers do what they need to do and still keep the flow of business running. So hopefully the takeaway that I leave with you today are the different options and possibilities that you can go away with as you continue on with these type of things. So let's get more into the Infinity Board here real quick, then we'll segue over into the CB series. And then again, any questions, comments that you have, you can feel free to chime in to Gina in chat, or we can wait to the very end of the demo to do this. So the Infinity Board right here from NEC comes in 4 different sizes. The board that you see here live is the 55-inch board. We also have 65-inch, 75, and 86-inch. What it is comprised of a V-Series display. The touch mechanism that we have on top is called Flat Frog In-Glass Touch. Highly responsive, very accurate, just an amazing feel and performance for this touch technology. It also comes with its own whiteboard software, so that's the touch mechanism on top. The speaker that you see here on my unit, it's the sound bar. It's the only sound bar that we have for the Infinity Board series. The other 3 larger units have a stereo speaker flanking the right and the left. But this fantastic high-powered speakers brought to us by a company over in Norway called Seas, and they make a quality product. Sounds good, rich depth to it. The sound is amazing. You can also see in the middle of my sound bar, we also have a webcam. So this particular camera is called the Hudley IQ. It's the most advanced webcam that Hudley has on the market today. It's software updatable. It boasts over 150-degree viewing angle and a lot of other benefits to the end user customer. Also, in addition, this unit runs natively on Windows operating system, so there is a built-in what's called OPS computer, and that stands for Open Pluggable Specification formally. I slangily call it Open Pluggable Slot, but essentially it's a slot in this computer that fits a small form factor, a slot in this display that fits a small form factor computer that allows you to do all these wonderful things as you get the product. Now, what I'm demonstrating here today to start is an option that we have for the Infinity Board called Quick Launch. And what Quick Launch does is it acts as an overlay to the Windows operating system where you can essentially look at your schedule and you can see your other go-to pieces of software that it's encapsulated in little sections. So when I click here to touch to start, I'm going to click on this and it brings up my jump start box, basically, or the starting point for when we're using quick launch with this product. So in environments like corporate environments where you want an ease of access, you want to be able to see who's having meetings, what applications they're having to open within those for those meetings, other different software that you need to do. You can design the look and feel of this to conform to whatever your designs are. Everything here is editable and managed according to the administrative element to this product. So the spirit of this is to allow for an overlay on top of Windows 10 so that the employees can hit what they want to hit quickly and effectively, but also it locks out everything else in the back. So it has some great security and administration features that will prevent any users from getting into the back-end administration and, messing things up or messing the look and feel of the desktop up. Everybody, left to their own designs can do whatever damage they need to do. So this locks it down really nice, and everything that you see here is editable and interchangeable. So I like to start with a demo to show this as an option if you need that. I'm going to go ahead and close this out now so that you can see its inherent native state, which is a Windows 10 desktop. I use the traditional old school desktop mode. A lot of folks prefer to use the tablet mode. It just depends on what your flavor is. But from this point on, I don't need to show you necessarily an exercise in operating a Windows 10 desktop. This is really up to your imagination and up to your needs at this point in time, because what we're boasting with the Infinity board is open platform. So anything in the Windows world that you want to run on this, Microsoft Teams, of course, comes to mind, WebEx, BlueJean, any of these other things. Yeah, you can run them on other operating systems, but we can use that here right out of the box with the program. The other thing that's interesting about, our product is that any of our display devices, whether it be projectors, displays, Infinity board, or the CB series, and I'm going to show you here in a minute, we can control each one of those devices with our proprietary software that's a free download from our NEC website called Naviset Administrator 2. Now, Naviset Administrator 2, essentially what it does is it pulls all of the NEC assets on your network, and it allows you to manage all of the on-screen menu functionality that you would with the remote control from the comfort of your desktop. So you can do things like monitor the temperature, you can send firmware updates to the displays, you can turn the displays on and off even at a scheduled interval. So if you want to keep green and save electricity, you can set these things to turn off and turn on at a specific time of the day. So that's available as well. Now, in addition to the Windows 10, we also provide some other courtesy software. If you're concerned about where you're heading into the future, not everybody has an idea of what software that they want to use. A majority of us have been forced into Zoom or forced into WebEx, but there's a lot of other software out there that I think needs to be entertained, especially if you want to do things like real-time collaboration on documents, where maybe I'm here in my secret bunker near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I want to collaborate with somebody in another part of the world. Well, it really depends on what type of software you use at that point in time. One of those software considerations that you might want to have would be to use a product like Hoilu. Hoilu is included in the purchase of the Infinity board. It's a single user license of Hoilu, so it's self-contained to the Infinity board itself. But it allows you to do things such as advanced whiteboarding. It allows you to do post-it note type of things in ideation, even including using external paper and an external pen to write on paper to have it show up on the board. So we give you that software as well. You also get Mosaic Connect on this product as well, and that allows up to 6 users to present their information remotely. Not simultaneously at the same time. It's not bidirectional annotation. Essentially what it does is it allows you to present from your iOS, Android, or Google Chrome web browser information on those devices to show up on the Infinity board. So we give you some things to go with, to give you some ideas of where you want to go. And ultimately, from our standpoint, from Solutions at NEC, we can help guide you down the pathway to make the right decisions and talk about integrations with earnest software that a lot of people are using, such as Teams and things like that. So we'll begin here today talking about the Infinity board, and basically, again, we're concentrating this onto corporate environments, huddle rooms, boardrooms, those type of things. But now, in today's day and age, everybody's considering all options based upon their use case. Now, let me transfer over real quickly here. I'm a one-man production show, so I'm going to get behind the camera here and switch over so you can see the CB series, and we'll start talking about that. All right, I think we're centered there. Hopefully we're in good shape. Gina, let me know if I need to make any more adjustments, but I think we're good to go. All right, guys, so now we're over here looking at the CB series. So what you're seeing here is the 65-inch CB series. It comes in 3 flavors. This is 65. We also have 75-inch and 86-inch. And what is it? You know, just like the Infinity board, it too is a 4K display. But the touch that we have on here is called IR Touch. IR Touch is still a great touch, technology. This touch is particularly responsive and very effective, and it's just as fantastic as well. But it's basically allows us to get to a price point that's a lot less than the Infinity board. So we're giving you some options here to think about, some things that you may be able to put together, and let's continue to move down that road. So this is a 4K display with IR Touch, and when it boots to this screen here, it's booting from a solid state media player that's included in the display, and that media player is running Android 8.0. So unlike any of our other products in our NEC arsenal, this is the only product that we have that has Android 8.0 as the back-end operating system. We have some courtesy software built into this product, just like we offer with the Infinity board. And the first one here is called Mosaic Canvas. The second one to the right of that is called Mosaic Connect. And those 2 pieces of software are developed specifically for us by a company in Ireland called DisplayNote. And I'll go through those in a brief demo here in a minute. The one in the middle here is called Files, and so that's your files and folder structure. You know, move your files around your folders. Nothing really to show there. You guys are all familiar with that. Settings, to affect any of the settings of the display, you can click on the settings button over there. And then lastly, the last button on the right is called Input. We'll go over that in a little bit. So you can basically bring in external devices and even including an OPS slot in this unit as well, where you can put a Windows OPS computer in it. Now, since we're over on the input, if you look down to the lower right, you can see that cube down there. And so basically when we tap on that, that's the repository for all of our icons where our applications are loaded into the product. Now, the CB series, the way that you load applications into the CB series is that you go to a APK download site out there on the internet, find your Adobe Acrobat, your Dropbox, whatever you want, and then you load that APK file onto a thumb drive and you put it into the front of the CB unit. Once that opens up, you double tap on the icon and then it loads in the software. So we call that side loading an application. And for those that have never heard of an APK file out there, essentially an APK is a program file for the Android world, just like an executable file is a program for the Windows world. So you go out to those APK sites, find the additional apps that you want to run, and that's how you load them into the product. One thing we are not at this point in time, full awareness, we are not Google Play certified. Product department is currently working on that. But you can, however, get into your Google account. You can do some of the basic things like go to your Drive, go to your pictures. The only thing that it blocks the product from doing is opening up any of those docs, sheets, any of those type of Google-centric applications. So I wanted you to be aware of that. The other thing, too, we have courtesy icon here for wireless or tethered connection. And then you've probably been noticing here this little arrow on the right and the left-hand side of the product. That allows for additional navigation and to open up some other functionality that we have in the unit. So let me tap on that. Android users, you're familiar with this. The first button here is the back button. So anywhere you're within the product, whether natively or an external device, you can pull out the back button and go to the back button. The home button allows you to go to this home screen from anywhere within the product or an external device as well. When you open an application and you close it, it's not completely closed all the way. It basically is on deck so that you can pull it up again. So this next button here allows you to witness what's still open so that you can tap on it and open it again. Or if you don't need it anymore, you can scroll it to the right and the left and get rid of it and recuperate those system resources and processes from the solid state media player again. Next below that, we have annotation. So the annotation tool in the CB is really interesting because you can annotate over top of anything you bring into the product. Now, real quickly, just for illustration, I'm going to annotate over top of the start screen here. So you can move this thing anywhere that you want. Doesn't matter. The first thing we have here is our pen tool or our writing tool. And that writing tool basically, can change color by tapping on it. The second tool over is a highlighter tool, so you can do the same with it, change the colors by tapping on it. Excuse me, the third icon over there is broom, and that represents erase. So if I wanted to click that and erase it, no problem. And then the save button here is at the very end, the save button. So let's go ahead and draw on this real quick. Here's some black scribbles. Here's some other things. Big deal, no problem. And then once you're done with your annotation, you can then save that annotation as a PNG image file. And then that PNG image file can get, it gets put specifically in a directory labeled today's date. So, unlike other, applications where you have to hunt and peck and, oh man, where did I put that file? Where did it default to? You don't have to worry about that. It saves it right in the notes directory in the folder labeled today's date. Now, once you're done with the annotation, you just X out of it and it completely gets you back to operating conditions again. We'll go back into that a few more times as well. The next button underneath the annotation is zoom. So, for any viewers in the back of the room that can't see anything, you can help them out. You can zoom in and out. The button below zoom there is another button that allows for some other applications to get brought in. And by the way, there are no additional fees for any of the software applications that are provided with the Infinity board and with the CV series. This is all included. They're single-use licenses, basically, but you don't have to worry about any ongoing ad nauseum fees. So more on the line of education for this first one, in my opinion, but you may be able to use your imagination differently. But it's called Spotlight. So when you click on it, it basically puts a spotlight over back of the canvas, and you can make it large or small and manipulate it wherever you want. And I guess it's basically to show only focus on a certain part of a document or a picture. So that's available. You have also next to that two stopwatch options. We have a countdown clock and we have a stopwatch. So whatever application you need for that, you can do that. And then over here next to those two stopwatch and the countdown clock, we have a thing called Air Class. And I'm going to show you an example of that once we get into the whiteboard mosaic canvas. But the net of Air Class allows the participants within proximity to the CV board to actually interact with the CV board. So you can turn your device into a voting device. And I'll show you that once we get there. Last but not least, we also can change different inputs to the product, as I mentioned. And there's a button down here that will allow you to get to that really easily. And then it's the same button that we have over here called input. So that's the lay of the land of what you're looking at here. One other thing, just trivially, if you wanted to get your icons for your applications up, just like any other type of phone or Android device, you can do a scroll and put them there, very conveniently. Now let's look at the whiteboard real quick. Forgive the white out here that's going to happen on the camera. It just is that way until I get some better lighting in here, which is going to happen pretty quickly. So here's the whiteboard. Let me show you what you're looking at. This is the naming up here. So you would give the name of the whiteboard, whatever name you want to name it there. Down in the lower left-hand corner, we have our open, save, save as. In the middle down here, we have the where we put our whiteboard. So this particular whiteboard application, it's not just a one and done. You can have more than one whiteboard opened in this session so that you can present some logical progression of information to the class or the boardroom or whatever you want to do. Whatever the vertical is, that allows you to get that done. This little dialogue area here, we can move this around, but basically when we tap on it, it opens up the other implements that we can bring into the whiteboard. So the first one here is our writing tool. So we have our pen, we have a line, we have an arrow. You can change the thickness of any of those three. You can also change the color. We get some primary colors that you can choose from. So let's go ahead and make a thick arrow there. Let's make a thinner one. That's how easy it is to do. Highlighter tool, the same way. You got some colors, you got some thicknesses here if you want to do some highlighting. Shape tool, we've got circle, we've got square thicknesses and color for that. Let's go ahead and erase this to get it out of the way. Text, you would imagine, yes, text can be brought in. So you just put your text box up there. And as you notice, the keyboard pops up. That keyboard can float anywhere on top of the canvas. And then you can go in and you can put in, whatever text you want at that point in time. Well, you want to edit that text, you just tap back on it again. You can go ahead and change any font that comes to with the unit. You can also change the size, the justifications, indentations, all the basic features you would expect in a basic Word editor, text editor is included here. The next one over next to text is Post-it note. So if you wanted to make a Post-it note, just go ahead and put your Post-it note in there. Put another one in there. And then basically at that point in time, you can move those things wherever you want, and then you can get creative, with the arrow tool. You can start making, associations to things and basically put some kind of logical idea together with those included tools. Above that, we have erase. There's three different ways to erase. You can erase either singularly, or you can, do a selector erase, or you can hit the trash can and kill everything on the whiteboard completely all at once. Images can be brought into the product. You would expect that, of course. So, if we go into this, let's go into templates. One example that I've done once in a blue moon is, and I did it earlier today, basically we're always talking about, bringing a picture, editing on top of it. We're thinking of the classroom, the boardroom, but what about things like the locker room? What about halftime? What about, different sports events? So at this point in time, I'm the coach and it's halftime and I'm like, okay, team, we got to do this play, once we get, back out of the locker room, blah, blah, blah. Well, as evident, you can tell I'm not a sports person, but use your imagination. You can do these type of wonderful things in the product. Last but not least, this last icon up in the middle allows you to take a complete picture of everything you've done, and that too saves it as a PNG image file. And before I get out of this, let me show you a quick example, kind of pulling all of this together to make a little more sense than just this. So let's go over here. Let's open up an example. And basically, like everybody, I went to good old Wikipedia and I found some information about Abe Lincoln. So here's a little quick quiz on Abe Lincoln. Hypothetically, imagine with me, we've taught the class the information. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to page number 2. And this is where we're going to ask the audience, questions to see they've learned the material. So first question here is a true-false question. So you can either do it the traditional way, raise your hand, kids, if you know the answer, anybody know the answer. But what we're going to do, we're going to use Air Class that's included. So let's go to our pull-out arrow. Let's go over to our software pull-out. Let's go into Air Class. And Air Class allows participants to the CV board, as long as they're on the same local area network, you can use your device and you can participate in voting and interactivity. So the QR code here represents the IP address here of my local area home network. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just take a picture of that. I'm going to tap on it, and then it's going to take me to the software that's loaded on the CB. So I'm going to get close to the screen there so you can see the first screen. And now when I enter, I'm going to just hit the enter button. And now you see that it's changed to A, B, C, D, E, F, true, false, and then we can actually ask a message of the teacher if we want. So let's go ahead and enter the class. Now, as the teacher, the educator, the person asking the question, I'm going to go, okay, class, we got a true, false question. I'm going to select a true, false. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin the quiz. Okay, go ahead and take your quiz. I'm going to answer that first question false. I'm going to hit okay. The teacher goes, thank you very much. And there's the results of the quiz. So I like the fact that this is instant results, and no more cacophony, no more bunch of kids screaming, raising their hands. Which person do I select? You can have them interact, have them thinking about this in real time like we want them to, and more importantly, they get those instant results that they're so programmed to get with all their likes and dislikes and all that other stuff instantaneously right there to witness due to this software. And again, that's included. There are no fees to that whatsoever. You get that as part of the purchase of the collaboration solution. Now let's go ahead and get out of that. There's a few other things that it'll do. It'll do obviously multiple choice. You can actually randomize, an audience member to be selected, and some other things. So it's a really great add-in. Now, lastly, if you want to show the actual answers to the quiz questions, just go to page number 3, and then you can see the answers there, and then you're good to go. Now, once you're done with everything, you want to give the information as a takeaway to everybody. You can actually convert everything to PDF. So in the upper your upper right-hand corner there, you can convert either a singular board, or you can convert all of the boards that you put together in a session very easily and effectively. So that's the whiteboard software. Let me go back in here real quickly. Now this one, due to the sake of time, I've mentioned it in other videos and I've shown it in other videos, but Mosaic Connect basically allows up to 4 individuals to present their information regardless of where they're at, as long as they have some type of internet connection. It's the same Mosaic Connect that's installed on the Infinity board, except this one is a 4-user limit. The Infinity board is a 6-user limit. So imagine that the user will then download the app. They download it on their iOS device or their Android, and they can then present that information even also from a Google Chrome web browser. So all you would ever see is just a picture of the device that's being presented, and then at that point in time, the user who's presenting the information can pull out the annotation tool, annotate on top of it, save it as a PNG image file, and then they're good to go. So that's available also. One other thing about the product, real interestingly, is that, it's not just what you see here, it's also what do you want it to be. Regarding education, there's a lot of educators out there that use specific proprietary software. Well, if they're using that on a laptop, they can use it on this device, and we have different inputs that you can actually bring devices into. Let me go ahead and open up my Adobe Acrobat real quickly so I can show you the different input ports that you can't see from this vantage point. They're hidden on the right-hand side and underneath. So right now you have 2 USB ports on the front, but also you have 3 additional USB ports on the right-hand side. We also have 2 HDMI ports and a third HDMI port. The first 2 here, you can actually share, as long as one device is on or the other, a USB connection to those devices. And basically the USB is how we pass touch to an external device, because USB is an HID, human interface device, just like a keyboard or a mouse. So you attach HDMI from an external device into one of these ports, you take the USB and put it into the external device, and then you're off and running, controlling that external device from the collaboration board, and I'll show you that in a minute. Also, like I mentioned, another HDMI input, and you can put touch on that, or we also offer a VGA port here still. So there's still VGA out there, and we're still supporting that. It's especially relevant in education. The unit has 2 12-watt speakers built into it, so if you wanted to bring audio into it, we have an audio in. We have 2 audio outs here, digital and analog. As you can see, they're RS-232 if you want to affect any advanced controls to the product. Physical LAN port and another USB connection is available as well. Let me pull out the annotation tool here real quick just to show you something else that's very interesting. The product also comes with a wall mount. So again, it's one less thing that you have to worry about it, especially if you know that this product's going to be mounted to a wall. Otherwise, I tend to typically recommend carts with wheels in certain environments, but if you're in a boardroom, a huddle room, and you know this thing's not going to be moved around, then that's a great feature that comes as well. Also, the stylus that I'm using here is a passive stylus. So there's no battery, no power needed, no connectivity to worry about. If it falls on the floor while you're doing a demonstration, no problem. You can still use your fingers. It's not anything where, well, if you lose this, you're without, a method of getting things into the device. So that's another great thing built in as well. Let's look at what it's like to bring in external information here. I mentioned an external laptop a couple times. So here on HDMI 1, I have a Lenovo Yoga here. And so, basically there it is. So, I'm showing the desktop now. If you wanted to go ahead and click on the Google Chrome web browser, any other application, within the product, it'll do it. No problem. Let's go back in here and look at another one. Here's an option slot. This is the OPS slot that we have built into the machine. So as you can see, I was doing some stuff from a previous demo in here. I don't know why I did that, but it defaulted to that port. Let's go back into option again. I must have fat fingered something and didn't know it. So now we're back into the OPS player running an i7 Intel OPS. And again, we can do this all day long. You want to write on this and, do the things that you want to do. It's talking directly to the OPS, and we're controlling it completely from this. If you want to annotate over top of all this, then you do the pull-out tab. You get the annotation tool that's built into the CB series, and now you can start annotating over top of the entire input. So whatever reason you have to do that, we give you the ability to get that done. And like I've mentioned a couple other times, once you're done annotating on top, then you can save it as a PNG image file. Also to be witnessed here, I have a little instance here of our Microsoft Teams. So this is our basically our NEC Microsoft Teams environment. If we wanted to make a phone call right now out of this to one of my associates, we can certainly do that. In other words, folks, anything you want to do, it's able to be done here in the Windows 10, and we give you a lot of different options to do that. As you saw there real quickly, I also have a Google Chromecast installed in this. So basically anything that you want to bring into the product from an external perspective, to conform to what your goals are and what your needs are, you can certainly do that. Last but not least, the stylus that has a magnetic front so you can actually put the stylus on the front of the CB series so they don't fall down. And it's very easy and convenient. Well, with that being said, folks, it's kind of the Cliff Notes version of the 2 products that we have here today. NEC, we're uniquely positioned to help you with any encounter that you have or any opportunity that you have within this space. What you've seen here are 2 of our ready-to-go products. one that's ready to go for Windows with best of breed selection, best of breed products surrounding it. This other one here, more budget minded, that can be made into what you want it to be, but also still feature packed with some software built in. Also, a lot of other displays have computing module slots already ready to go. Not only the OPS, but the new Intel standard is coming along, the smart display, and then also we have overlay options as well. So, if there's something here that you're looking at doing, but we're not quite hitting the mark on these already ready to go products, and you need something a little more custom, we can definitely help you with that as well. So, hey, I'm going to open up the floor for any questions you may have. Again, I'm George Borden, Solution Architect for the company and for NEC, and I really appreciate you guys coming on board today. So, Gina, any questions I can help anybody with?
Thanks, George. Yes, there is one question. Can multiple users remotely whiteboard at the same time?
Are we talking about the Infinity board or the CB series with that question?
Came over through the chat, so I guess.
All right. Well, let me answer it this way.
Okay.
It depends on the software that you use. It really boils down to that. So on the Windows software on the Infinity board, you're probably going to find something where you can do real-time collaboration. The Hoilu product that we provide as a courtesy, that's a single-use license on the Infinity board. You can actually buy another instance of Hoilu through Hoilu and turn it into a real-time collaboration unit. That's the spirit of the Hoilu software, is so that people can work remotely. So if I open up a document here in Pittsburgh and I have associates over in Bangalore and I have some other associates over in China, it really doesn't matter. As long as they can open up that software and hit the server, then you can work in real time on that. That's a good question, and it really gets down to what kind of software do you want to use, or does your customer want to use, depending upon who you are asking that question. But that's one way to look at it. So if you use that particular software for Hoilu, you can do that two-way communication.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? I'll give it a bit if anybody wants to type any questions into the chat, and we can ask George. Hopefully that answered your question on the whiteboard or any of the boards.
Otherwise, I'll leave an open invitation for anybody that needs any custom demos done, more a specific deep dive. The thing with these WebEx, it's more of a general catch-all type of thing. But in this world of collaboration and interactivity, and definitely how we're going to be going back to work, or as we're slowly getting back to work, moving into the future, not every solution's for everybody. So it's more of a consultative sale actually at the end of the day. So as you get more information about how you're approaching, how you're getting back to work, keep us in mind, share those ideas with us, and we can help guide you along the right path as you get there.
All right, perfect. So, all right, that's all the questions that we have for today. I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, George. I have a few notes to relate to everybody. Next week, we are actually starting our next round of webinars. Monday is a CTS course, which is how to select the proper DV LED solutions, and that is worth 1 RU credit. So feel free to look at our website. We do have the webinars posted, and you can register there as well. And we appreciate your time, and we hope everybody's doing well and staying safe, and have a wonderful weekend.
One thing, don't leave yet.
All right.
Joel asked a question.
Yes.
Joel, yes, I can be reached to do a private demo. If you want to reach back to Gina, or my email address is gborden@necdisplay.com. Let me bring out my text tool here real quick. There you go, gborden@necdisplay.com. Feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'm more than happy to schedule a private demo for you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.